Are remakes bad for gaming? Remakes, if they're bad for gaming, what I don't like about remakes is that if you were to remake one thing, that's kind of cool, but I feel like the only reason why remakes ultimately wouldn't be bad is because you would bring classics, back to the standards of today. So it's kind of like if a game was kind of bad back in the day in terms of like controls, Jet Set Radio, them making a remake of the game, and if they fix all the issues that the game initially had in terms of movement, and then they just bring it like to life again, and bring it up to date, then it's fine. But I feel like right now we are in a moment where they are spamming remakes out the ass. But
some love them, some think they're.
You said like Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4, I feel like was one of those games that didn't necessarily need a remake, but the remake happened and it was still nice. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed the Resident Evil 4 remake a lot. I enjoyed it. It didn't need a remake. Yes, The Last of Us doesn't need a remake because it had a remaster. But I don't know why it happened. It is what it is, but
They're a soulless cash grab stain on the industry. Remakes are a controversial topic in the gaming community, so let's run down a few pros and cons to video game remakes. Remakes hamper originality. The most common negative I hear when it comes to remakes is that remakes aren't new. They're taking an old concept that already exists and just...
That's what I don't like about it, is that they're taking an old concept that's not new and then they're just refreshing it or just redoing the game from the ground up. They have the skeleton for it. And then they charge like a premium price still for it, which is kind of like, like, damn, bro, I already got this game, like the original. Now I got to spend $60 again to get the remake. I get it. But then at the same time, I'm like, damn, it's not a new IP, though.
Redoing it. There's nothing impressive or interesting about reusing old material. People are getting tired of seeing the same old things over and over again instead of something new. Staying stuck in the past prevents us.
You said Persona 3 Reload is 70? Oh my god.
Old ideas. While remakes are inherently unoriginal, it doesn't mean they can't add in their own twists to give you something new. The Resident Evil 1 remake adds crimson heads to the game. If you kill a zombie without blowing off its head or burning its corpse, it can come back to life later on as a much faster, stronger...
Bro, you saw how fast that zombie got up?
Blowing off a zombie's head is not super reliable in RE1 Remake, so that means your main way of stopping Crimson Heads is to burn the zombie's corpse. Fuel for your lighter being a limited resource then adds another element of strategy and fear to this already tense game. Kirby Superstar Ultra adds in a ton of in-game bonus content that wasn't in the original Kirby Superstar, like a brand new mode where you can play through the game as Meta Knight, a remixed challenge version of the Spring Breeze campaign, and far more difficult super bosses. Remakes make the original game less accessible. If a company already has a remake available on modern platforms, they may not even bother putting the...
I mean, the original was already, if you think about it anyway, any of the old games are kind of hard to gain access to anyway. So it's kind of like, that's why they're remaking it. The only way that you can, majority of the time, get an old game is by downloading the ROM or probably going to like a mom and pop shop that sells classic games, but they're definitely going to chop your arm off if you want to buy it. Like, if they got a brand new copy of Resident Evil 4, they're not going to sell it to you for like 20, 30 bucks. They're going to sell it to you for, probably anything $70 plus just because it's like the original.
Older version up for download.
You said I will not play the original Final Fantasy VII. You know what's funny? The other day, I bought 3 games on my Steam Deck, right? Bro, I've been playing Slay the Spire. Yo, this game is tough. I don't know why I took so long to play this game. I used to see a lot of people playing it, and I'm like, what is the point of Slay the Spire? Oh, I also, bro, look, here are some of the new games I've been playing, right? Apparently, Cult of the Lamb got some DLC, right? Cult of the Lamb got some DLC. I also copped Dragon Quest. I don't know when I'm going to play it, but I copped it. I copped the OG. I don't know when I'm going to play it, but I'm going to try. And I bought this one. I never played Final Fantasy X and 2D Remaster. Bro, when I tell you, Cocoon, I've been playing Cocoon. I feel like I'm like 60% in Cocoon. This game should not have beaten Pizza Tower. That's all I'm gonna say. This game should not have beaten Pizza Tower, bro. I'm playing Cocoon. Don't get me wrong. The game is alright, but it's not all that. Like I'm like halfway through the game. It's just very, like, the puzzles are just a lot of the time very, like, you gotta think outside the box a lot of these, like, puzzles. But it's not all that, dude. Cocoon is not all that. It was okay. It's a good game, but to beat Pizza Tower is insane. I need to stream 11. Get Lethal Company on Steam Deck. I think I do have it on it. I think I do have it. But I don't know how it's going to run. I haven't tried it on the Steam Deck, though.
Original 2D version.
Stream Dragon Quest 11.
Memories for the game.
I low-key wanted to play that game in private.
Version of the game that's readily available for online purchase is the 3D remake that's included in the...
Hey. Yo, Zanrila, thank you for the resub, baby.
Kingdom Hearts 1.5 collection, Persona 3
But which game should I play? Which game is longer? Out of the two games that I showed you, the Dragon Quest game, and then Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy game with the guy laughing in the water, the ha ha ha. Which game is longer? Which game should I play first? 11 is longer. Dragon Quest is longer. Okay, so I might have to go into one of those other ones.
Remaster for modern platforms, but you still can't play the original Persona 3 or the FES update, which is very different from the portable version having tons of unique content unless you have a PS3 or you want to fish for an old PS2 copy. One thing I've even seen a few companies do.
Bro, what's going on with Capcom and Steam? Every time I'm about to look, yo, Capcom had like 3 sales recently on Steam. And every time I go to any games owned by Capcom, the comments are just spam down, thumbs down voting. And then they're like, oh, I bought this game so I could play it on my Steam Deck. And then now it keeps freezing on my Steam Deck. I can't play my game, blah, blah, blah. You said they added DRM. What the fuck is a drum? What is a DRM? I don't even know what the hell that is, but I'm seeing a lot of people be very mad about it. Digital rights management? I don't get it. So it fucks up boot looping. What is boot looping? You said man doesn't know what a DRM is? That's why I'm asking chat, man. You guys got to inform me. It's an anti-piracy. It's to stop pirates. Anti-piracy, but they add versions that fuck up performance. You can't pirate shit with DRM. You can't own the game even if you buy it. Really? Monster Hunter Rise has a DRM making it... Wait, has a DRM making it so you cannot play it on Steam Deck. That's insane. That's dumb.
Remove the older versions of a game.
It prevents modding.
Remaster comes out. We saw this with the Sonic Origins collection when Sega removed the classic Sonic games from digital storefronts, and also when Rockstar removed the older versions of the GTA games from many different online platforms to make way for their definitive trilogy. Some of these remakes have bugs and other problems, but even if
why that bitch ran at him like that?
Some of these remakes have bugs and other problems, but even if these updated versions were the superior versions of the game,
fuck?
You shouldn't take down the originals because there's still plenty of people who would
I've never seen that.
Experience these games in their purest form. Remakes make games more accessible.
Yes, like
remakes can take an old game that had some issues and fix those problems to make the game more easy to get into. In the original Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, if you get a game over, you're going right back to the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That's just way too unforgiving. There's nothing more demoralizing.
But then that's why us millennials, we played this shit and we had to suffer and go through this bullshit. And that's why, I don't know, bro. Yo, the newer games now, they make that shit easy. They be like, damn, bro, you lost all your lives and you were on World 8. You want to try again from the beginning of World 8? And I'm like, bruh, y'all making it too easy.
Than losing progress in a video game. So losing all of your progress is just soul crushing. Luckily, it is removed in the remakes of the games in the Super Mario All-Stars collection. One thing that I think that a lot of gamers take for granted is the amount of accessibility options that games have nowadays. There are people with disabilities like color blindness that can make some things difficult to see in games. There are people with poor hearing. there are some people with arthritis or other issues that can make finger movements difficult. This is something that not a lot of gamers think about because a lot of hardcore gamers are able-bodied young people. But there are a ton of people out there who have difficulty playing older games because back then game developers were not as knowledgeable or as aware or as thoughtful of the physical complications that some people have. In recent years, games like the Dead Space remake have added so many accessibility options.
You said, that's why whenever Pokemon remakes happen, it's an iffy discussion because on one hand, the OGs are usually better, but on the other hand, you try buying one of the old games these days for a reasonable price, yeah. And I'm just happy that a lot of the old games in terms of Pokemon, like my sister, she owns a copy, like because my sister, she has all the copies from all of us. So like me, Wally, Luxray has, I feel like every copy. We have every copy of every game, roughly, in terms of Pokemon. And they're the legitimate copies. I don't want nobody in the chat being like, hey, man, because I seen them shits on Etsy where they like resell like some of these games for like cheap ass prices. They'd be like, hey, man, you want Pokemon Emerald? $10. And I'd be like, $10 for Pokemon Emerald? It's a little suspicious because it's not the legitimate copy. It's just a ROM put on a freaking circuit board and then they just resell the shit so they can make money. So I'm glad that I have like all of them legitimate copies. A part of me in the future kind of wants to get an analog pocket just so I could play like Pokemon Crystal again. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, that shit's money. A pocket analog is like $200+. Like, do I really want to spend that? And I have a Steam Deck. I could just download the ROM on that bitch.
To help everyone from those with vision issues, hearing issues, precision issues, and content sensitivity.
Crystal in the 3DS too?
There could be someone out there who really
I think I got
wants to play an old classic game, but they literally physically can't. So remakes can be a great way to allow more people to enjoy games. Remakes prevent new games.
Is that the boy Retro? Strory 2.
Yo, Pink Giratina, how you doing, baby? Yo, I hope you've been doing good in Tekken 8. I've been seeing you like post a lot on Twitter, like you playing Tekken, you playing that Street Fighter, man. Girl, keep that grind up. Keep that grind up, girl.
Game development can take
hope you're doing all right, Pink Giratina.
Nowadays. So if a team decides to work on a remake, they obviously have to spend a lot of time and resources on it. That time and those resources.
Bro, I don't even want to look at Majima, bro. I don't even want to look at him, bro. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to look at him. Get him off my screen.
Original. The
Get him off my screen.
Cost of making a remake is not being able to dedicate manpower to new games. Imagine if instead of remaking Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we got a new Pokemon spin-off, something really unique, like Pokemon Conquest or the trading card game RPGs. Every remake is a lost opportunity for something fresh. Remakes allow...
Yo! The trading card game, if they were to make a remake of that, would be kind of cool, but I don't know if people would really be into that. I wish I could learn how to play like OG Pokemon. Like Pokemon cards. When I used to play Pokemon cards as a kid, we didn't do that fire energy bullshit. We used to play it like Uno on crack, where it'd be like, hey, I got a Charizard in my hand and they got 150 hit points. I summon Charizard. Oh, I'm spamming Fire Spin on any Pokemon that comes out, right? That's bullshit. That's how I used to play it, but I never played it the legitimate way where you gotta like summon, draw a card, and then you gotta stack the energies on them, and then after you stack the energies, then you could do moves. You said dude was playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh man. OG Yu-Gi-Oh was fun too. Yu-Gi-Oh now is just, I feel like they got like new archetypes like every 2-3 months, and I can't keep up.
New games to be made. While yes, resources are used up in making remakes.
This remake is fire. Like Ocarina of Time, I feel like, or Majora's Mask, whatever, on the 3DS, these were so good. I feel like we don't need a remake on Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time just because of how good the 3DS versions of these games were fucking amazing.
Those remakes can help new games get made. Christian Whitehead, a prominent figure
W.
in
Whitehead.
the fan community, got in contact with Sega and he developed a remake of Sonic CD that was released in 2011. He formed a relationship with Sega, working on remakes of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, until eventually he became the lead developer of a brand new 2D Sonic game, Sonic Mania, in 2017. which to this day is considered to be one of the best games in the series. Remakes are a safe way for a company to make some quick cash and gauge interest for games in that particular style. We didn't get another classic Mega Man game until after the Legacy Collections dropped. Remakes aren't necessary. If a game is already great, what's the point of even making a remake?
Yes, and there's some games like that where I feel like personally, like Mario 64, I hope I don't see Nintendo anytime soon talking about, yo, Mario 64 or Mario, like bro, this game does not need a remake. I feel like even the DS version of this game where they had Wario, Luigi, Mario, and Yoshi, the DS version was also like really fucking good, and I love the DS version because of all the mini games that you could unlock. I don't think these games need remakes. Mario 64 2? I don't know.
Remakes make sense if the original game was inherently flawed or has some issues that a remake could iron out. But if you look at the games that are being remade, they're all critically acclaimed darlings. Resident Evil 4 is considered to be one of the most influential games of all time. Dead Space is a survival horror legend. Metal Gear Solid 3 is considered to be the best game in the series. The Last of Us was a fantastic send-off for the PS2.
Nah. Last of Us, we already had the OG, which ran fine. Then the remaster came out, which was okay. Thank you for the upgrade. Fine. Then they did The Last of Us 1. Unnecessary as fuck. Okay. Now the Last of Us 2. That remake, I feel like, was unnecessary. Even if my price that I have to pay for it is $10 because I have the shit, it's kind of like, bro, it was still an unnecessary cash grab. You said, didn't you say Mario 64 aged badly last time you played it? Mario 64, I mean, I don't remember saying it, but I probably did. I don't know. The only thing, if I was to say what is bad about Mario 64 is Mario's movement sometimes, because the movement could be a little weird. But other than that, I feel like it's probably just the movement.
Final Fantasy VII is one of the most beloved RPGs.
That's when I was trying to speedrun the game and quit. When did I try to speedrun Mario? I've never tried to speedrun Mario. What are you talking about? Every time I play Mario 64, I always go for the 120 stars. I always try to go and get every star. What do you mean speedrun?
Cheap way to double dip on something that players have already bought.
At the time when Tainted sent links?
Oh! Of course, remakes aren't.
No. I think I was just playing Mario 64. Remember, I wasn't trying to speedrun. Tainted was just like, oh, here's a faster method on how to do it. Tainted was just sending links of speedrun shit. I wasn't speedrunning the game. I remember now. I was legit just playing Mario 64, and then Tainted just kept on recommending speedrun strats to get through stuff faster.
Necessary, but it doesn't make them any less cool. Remakes can be a way of making something people already think is good and make it even better. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green add many of the gameplay improvements from the later Pokemon games like abilities, the special stat split, and the new types to the Generation 1 games. Super Mario 64 DS adds brand new playable characters with unique abilities to Mario 64. The Link's Awakening remake adds a...
I never got to play this, bro. I still want... Nintendo, you cheap bastards. Bro, they will never reduce the price on this game. I'm not spending 60, dude. Bring this shit down to like 30 bucks, maybe 20. No, I said maybe 20. Please 20. I don't want to spend 60 on this shit.
Dungeon level editor to the game. Were these features needed? No, but there's still really cool features that deepen the experience of the original games. Remakes hurt the legacy of the original game. The existence of remakes can make the originals less remembered. When a kid looks up Crash Team Racing, the first result isn't the 1999 original, it's the 2019 remake. If I look up Resident Evil 3, I have to scroll down to the 5th result to get the original game. In cases where the original is considered to be better, having the remake be the face of the game's identity is an insult. People aren't gonna go digging to find the originals, meaning the remake...
Cap, people will go and dig for the originals. Especially if they're gamers and they're passionate enough, they're definitely going to dig and do their research to see the originals. They definitely are. Like to say, like, Because the fact that you even searched it up means like you care about the game and you're trying to like find out information about it. You're definitely going to look at the original.
Remake will forever be how a game is known by the general public. Whenever I talk about Shadow of the Colossus,
That's another game I never played. Shadow of Colossus. I remember when the remake came out and people were just like gassing this shit up.
To make sure
I never got to play it.
In there that I'm talking about the 2005 original and not the 2018 remake. Remakes further the legacy of the original game.
True.
Remakes bring attention back to the original game. Tons of people go back to play the original game once a remake is announced. There'll be comparison videos showing all of the nitpicky reasons why the outdated game from 2 decades ago has more personality.
Bro, if I play Final Fantasy VII, right, the OG, don't tell me I gotta make that fucking wagon. Oh no, that's in Ever Crisis. Never mind. Okay, now we good.
Than the new version. When's the last time you actually heard someone talk about Advance Wars before the remakes were announced? When's the last time you heard someone talk about Pac-Man World before the remake was announced? When's the last time you heard someone talk about Spyro before the reignited trilogy
I hate
was
Spyro,
announced?
bro.
You can't deny that remakes get people talking. Alright, so we've been through some pros and some cons. I guess it's that point in the video where I have to make my stance known. Personally, I don't think remakes are a bad thing. I think they give new people a chance to experience old games. They can add improvements from later games.
But here's my thing, right? I feel like they gotta remake games that need a remake. Persona 1 and Persona 2. Y'all gotta get those games out the fucking like Atlas, y'all gotta pull them games out the shelf and hit it with a you gotta, bro, like there's some games that need a remake because they're so fucking old. Persona 1 and 2 needs a remake. I'm trying to think of other old games. What can I think of like Nintendo? You see, look, Nintendo got so much bangers, even as like old school games, that I feel like they don't even need remakes. Like Yoshi's Island don't need a remake. That shit still runs great. It does what it needs to fucking do. It's a great game. Paper Mario 64, even Paper Mario 64 was a great game. Even Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, in my honest opinion, the Paper Mario series of those two games, the first one and Thousand Year Door, they didn't even need remakes. Because if you replayed that shit today, the game still runs perfectly fine and it does literally exactly what you need it to do. But the Paper Mario remake, I wish that they could put improvements, like in terms of like, you know, new badges, new enemy types. I don't know, man. Everybody like me and chat is being hopeful, and we're saying like, bro, give us like a side story with Luigi or something. I don't know. Just add on to it. Like, I hate it when they make remakes and they don't add anything to it. Add shit to the stuff so it can make it better. Add stuff. Don't just make it like a carbon copy, but you just remake it. Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 definitely needs a remake. I could say that, yeah. Yeah, them games are crunchy. The Mario RPG remakes add post-game content. Superstar Saga got a remake for the 3DS, but I didn't like it because it was slower. I like the original Superstar Saga over the remake because the original is way faster. You get into a move, you're like knockback bros. Done. Oh shit, Hammer Bros. Done. The remake is mad slow. It'd be like, then you do your move. And I'm like, nope, I need the quickness. I need the, need it fast.
The franchise to make the older game better. And
you said Xenogears?
Of the classics from dying. Obviously, I love getting new, unique, and interesting games, but hey, every once in a while, I don't mind seeing a Persona 3 remake. What can I say? Like a lot of things in life, remakes are fine if done in moderation. If it gets to the point where every other big release of the year is a remake,
yeah,
then, you know, maybe things might have to calm down a little bit, but as things are right now, I think we're okay.
But in my honest opinion, Persona 3 needed the remake. Because I'm not going to lie to you, bro. That shit was kind of crunchy. There was a lot of crunchy moments in Persona 3 and needed the remake. Persona 4, in my opinion, doesn't need a remake. Because I replayed Persona 4 last year and I enjoyed that shit from start to finish. Persona 4 doesn't need a remake. Like, the way that it is now, it's still fucking amazing. Persona 5, I never want to see that shit remade, ever. I never want to see that shit remade. Never, never. I'm tired of Persona 5. Persona 1 and 2, please, Atlas. That'd be great if Persona 1 and 2 got a remade. Breaking news!